Well, refugees and migrants feel increasingly unwelcome here in Germany, according to a new study from the German Institute for Economic Research. The report found that while 84% of migrants felt welcome back in 2017, just 65% felt that way in 2023. It comes as Germany marks 10 years since the former Chancellor Angela Merkel welcomed millions of refugees fleeing conflict with her famous motto, "Wir schaffen das," or "We can do it."
This was Germany back in 2015. Open arms and open hearts for refugees. Now, closed doors and rising tensions. In 2015, then Chancellor Angela Merkel said,
Wir haben so vieles geschafft, wir schaffen das.
"We can do it." Many in Germany agreed. More people applied for political asylum that year than ever before. Most came from Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Some Germans feel overwhelmed, others afraid, or even hostile.
We've been dealing with refugees for 10 years. That's enough.
Support for the far right has surged. 1 in 5 Germans voted for the Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD. Violent crimes linked to refugees have raised tensions and the political stakes. And yet, Germany has an acute labor shortage and needs migration to keep its economy going. Today, around 3.5 million refugees live in Germany. Many have built new lives here. The majority of those who arrived in 2015 have found work, like this family that fled war-torn Syria and have become German citizens. The dream for almost all refugees, according to recent studies.
We've done everything that we should have done. And because of that, we made it.
But some who work closely with refugee communities say that much more needs to be done to integrate them and to reduce tensions within local communities. This retired policeman works to bridge gaps between a refugee housing centre and the nearby town.
I think some politicians are not aware of what needs to be done on the ground.
Former Chancellor Merkel isn't expressing any regrets.
The fact that I did this has polarised people, has led them to join the AfD, which I don't agree with, but they have done so. And the AfD has certainly become stronger as a result. But is that a reason for me not to make a decision that I think is important, that I think is right, that I thought was reasonable at the time, that I thought was humane?
Germany is still sorting out the consequences of that decision, at the political level and across society.
And Kerstin Becker is with me in the studio. She's head of the Migration and International Cooperation Department at the German Paritätische Welfare Association. This is one of Germany's major umbrella organisations for social welfare groups. Welcome to you, Kerstin. Now, as we've seen, migration is a really fraught issue, and it's become even more so in the last 10 years. What do you think the legacy of this famous statement from Angela Merkel, "Wir schaffen das," we can do it, what do you think the legacy of that is today?
Thank you so much for having me here. Well, first of all, I think we have seen that we really made quite a lot. In 2015, we had a clear political decision. We've seen Angela Merkel just a couple of seconds ago. And we've seen what is possible if state actors, civil society actors, and the whole of societies cooperate together and underline the decision that we can make it. So a lot was possible and is still possible in integrating a lot of people, of refugees. But we have learned at the same time that volunteering and saying that it is possible is not enough, but it needs professional structures and mainly sustainable structures. This is what we learned over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I want to talk to you a bit later about what needs to change. But as we've seen too, there's been a shift in migration politics, not just here, but in a lot of different places as well, a growing shift to the right. That's despite a real need for migration in countries like Germany to fill labour shortages. What do you say to people, to Germans who say that they want less migration, a more tougher stance on migration today?
Well, first of all, I say that it is a benefit for the whole of society if people are coming to Germany, migrants or especially also refugees, because it's a benefit not only for the employment sector, but also for the whole of society if we have an open and a liberal society. But on the second point, it's also a kind of responsibility, a humanitarian responsibility that we have because we face many wars and crises worldwide. And Germany, as a very wealthy country, has a responsibility to accept refugees here and support refugees also in first asylum countries. So this is something that has to be done. We cannot neglect from protecting refugees because if we don't, other countries won't do as well.
And how does this sort of complicate some of the work that you do, these sorts of attitudes?
Well, of course, it has become very difficult, mainly because the asylum policy has changed a lot in the last years. So we fight a lot for funding, but also for good rights and structures for asylum seekers.
You were talking about this earlier, but what needs to change for migration to be better perceived in the community, to bring the community along? You were talking about better integration, perhaps things like better employment opportunities.
Yes, but we've seen, especially also in 2022, when almost 1 million people from Ukraine came to Germany, that it really helps if people have access to integration lessons right from the beginning, if they can choose the place to live, because then they can go where employment possibilities are, and that they have really professional support, psychosocial support, for example, for traumatized people, language lessons, but also counseling services.
Thanks so much, Kerstin. That's Kerstin Becker of the German Paritätische Welfare Association. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.